Padre Callejero es sin dudas uno de los mejores del cine y del mundo, ya que han tomado y creado las mejores composiciones para cada escena de la película y hacen de esta película una obra maestra del séptimo arte coreano.
I used to rule the world, just when I never like a stowaway.
And hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 4-Digit Mania World Cup 2023. What an interesting day we have for us here today. If you just joined us from the first match that happened between Germany versus Brazil, it was a pretty interesting match with Brazil defeating Germany by the score of 5-2. That was a winner's bracket round of 16. But now we are heading down into our first losers round of 16 match between two teams with very versatile lineups we have here. This is going to be Australia taking on Argentina. This should be a very, very interesting match. Streaming this match will be Kankawe. Refing this match is Yubi. I am Pork is Great. Joined by with me is none other than the captain of the United Kingdom's 4-digit MWC team, Hyper. How are you doing, Hyper?
I'm doing good, thank you. It's good to be here. Second match of the weekend.
Yep, it is a really interesting match, and what an interesting week we will have for you guys ahead as 4-digit Mania World Cup is still happening. This is going to be against two teams that did ended up losing against in their first match, but did look slightly strong in their performances. So don't let this scores from their first match deceive you, as they did try their hardest to be able to try to make a upset against their retrospective opponents. It's going to be Australia taking on Argentina. Australia, definitely an interesting team. In their first round of 32 match, they took on the Netherlands, in which I've commentated on that match. Australia actually looked pretty strong. Some of their players were able to keep up with some best Netherlands players, but it was just the inconsistency of their third player slot has just really costed Australia a rare upset against their opponent. Meanwhile, for Argentina, they've won the first point, but ended up losing the next 5 against the last year's third place team, Peru. So this is going to be interesting to see how well these two teams will face off against each other. As for Argentina, definitely almost a complete roster overhaul, with Quiz Uwu being the only player from the 4-digit member for Argentina from 2022 coming back. Meanwhile, for Australia, they do have some players from MWC, including Fluffy GMD, and there were some other players. I believe Potassium F competed for MWC earlier last year as well. But they also have some decent players as well. Beat Saber is good. Arcano's Ayamasu. Definitely Australia would love to rely on those guys. Argentina, even though there is Quiz Uwu being the only player from the Argentina team, they also run with a pretty versatile lineup with Gonzalo, BL5, Alu, and Hakitsu. So this is going to be a pretty interesting match of two teams filled with players of various experience levels for a tournament. So really excited to see how well these guys will do.
Yeah, I do think this is going to be a really close match. Australia and Argentina are really close seeding-wise, with Australia being slightly lower, I believe, at 26. Yeah, Australia 26 and Argentina was 23. So this is really close.
Yep, and I think we just did the rolls. I believe Argentina won the rolls. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Australia won. Australia rolled a 76 to Argentina's 71. So this will mean that Australia will win the rolls. So Australia will have the first protect and the first pick, but Argentina will get the first ban. So Potassium F, the team captain, will go with Rice 4 being protected. The mixed Rice map. Very interesting pick for Australia as their protect. So now it is Argentina's turn to make their first protect of this map pool. We're going to see what will Argentina choose. The map pool, while it's definitely a step up from round of 32. I feel like it's in the barrier between the early game, but it's really closing in on approaching into the mid game portion of the tournament. So this is where we're going to see a lot of the map pools are going to really start to ramp up in difficulty. Argentina going with SV1 as their protect. And yeah, if you're wondering with the music, this was Argentina's protect music, so we're still going to have that. It's a really interesting audio. But Argentina is now up to make their first ban of the tournament. So, Hyper, what are your predictions for this match? Do you think Australia might win it because with the various players with a lot of tournament experience, or do you see an unknown team like Argentina pulling off the upset?
Now, Argentina are quite fresh, so inexperience could be their downfall, but Australia did get to perform a little bit worse before, so it could be really close, but I do see Argentina and Australia getting a few points, going back and forth.
Yep, so Rice 2 is going to be banned. Teenage Dreams, that's the speed stream-oriented map that Argentina doesn't want to play, which kind of makes sense. But now with this in mind, Australia is now up to make their only ban. So, Australia, I mean Hyper, even though even if most of the Argentina members are new, I think I do have to agree with you. Like, it could still be close. I mean, there are some teams that are pretty new to the tournament scene, but have surprised pretty much everyone in the tournament, as Australia will ban SV2. If you remember, Japan being the other team, I can also think of in mind where most players are new to the tournament scene, but yet they took the Philippines into tiebreaker, which was really interesting to say the least. And with this in mind, Rice 3 is going to be picked for Potassium F of Australia.
Yeah, I do think that's probably one of the better ideas for Australia, because their accuracy in the qualifiers was very close, and I think Australia just barely managed to inch behind. Really close behind, it was by a few thousand points there.
Yep. So, with this in mind, this is Rice Street. This is the longest Rice map, as being typical with the consistency, stamina maps that you'll see in the Rice Street slot. Mighty Long Fall is 3 minutes 47 seconds long with a BPM of 158. It has almost everything, not what you expect from a Rice 3, but there's a lot of jump streams, a lot of streams, and some trills being involved with this map.
And don't forget this, there are a few long nose scared in it, but they can trip you up.
Yeah, there are some LNs that will catch some players off guard. Over on Australia, Beat Saber is good. Orkanos and Aimasu will be coming in for Australia. An interesting lineup from Australia. Typically, you'll have either Potassium F or Fluffy GMD being able to join in for your typical lineup. But it's interesting to have like those two core players not in. But over on Argentina, Hakitsu, Gonzalo, and Quiz Uwu will be playing for Argentina. And oh man, not good starts coming from Gonzalo, and Beat Saber is good.
Yeah, that's maybe 3 early drops already.
Yeah, so 3 drops already within the first 20 seconds of the map in, but this is going to give Australia such a huge boost in starting, and just when it could have gone any better for Australia, most of them has hit into the 400 combo cap, so Quiz was the last player to get into the 400 combo mark, so this is going to slightly extend the lead even more for Australia. And you know, a lot of these players are breaking before the first Ki, which I'm really concerned to see how well these players will do on the Ki section right here.
Australia are holding quite strong compared to Argentina, so that could give them some confidence on the race maps.
Yep, and so far Masu and Orkanos are the players for Argentina with the FC. Hakitsu with the FC as well, but when you have your teammates not unfortunately breaking just at various parts before the first Ki, that is just really concerning to see how can Argentina can pull off the immaculate comeback against Australia. As we get into the second Ki here, so far everybody's looking pretty comfortable. Gonzalo and Chris looking pretty good after that at that first Ki, so hopefully they can keep up with that consistency. But Australia is looking pretty strong in terms of consistency.
All 3 of the Australian players are above 99.6% here. Well, only 1 of the Argentinian players are.
Yeah, if you look at Hakitsu, he has the highest accuracy in the lobby right now. It's just really tough to be able to just see Chris and Gonzalo. No, just pretty much Gonzalo just couldn't keep up with the consistency and the pacing of this map. It really can throw you off with some stream patterns here. As we are into the build-up before the last chorus or last Ki, Australia already having a really strong lead, especially even though it's like it may seem short, like 20,000 points may seem short. It is a lot in Mania compared to like other modes, as Australia is just looking pretty strong, and all 3 of them looking to finish off with 3,000 combos at least. Orkanos, no, it was Beat Saber is good with a slight error at the start, but we'll FC the rest of the way through. Very impressive comeback, and another break coming from Argentina for Quiz, but aside from that, there's nothing else Argentina could do. Australia looking really, really strong. Hakitsu with a 99.79, which is super impressive, but unfortunately it's just not going to be enough, as Australia will take the first point coming from their own pick. Argentina is now up, however, to make it 1-1 even, but man, that was just an impressive score by Aimasu.
There are two 50s from Hakitsu, which means they could have missed if they had rushed too fast.
Oh yeah, definitely. Aimasu Orkanos definitely with some really great scores. Beat Saber with the initial break, but definitely outscored with against Kusuwu and Gonzalo. And with the semi now, it's going to be Argentina's turn to pick their first map that they want to play. No, Argentina protected SV1, so
That
I
does
could
make
definitely,
sense.
yeah. Oh, they're gonna go with their protect already straight away.
Ooh.
That's going to be interesting. Like this, Android 52, mapper made by Patarages, one of the staffers, hosts. Yeah, I like to think of it as a host or a pooler, who made this map. Really fun map, really fun song.
It is definitely not easy to savor this map. It takes a little moment to learn it, but it's pretty easy to memorize due to how repetitive it is.
Yep, so we're going to see Fluffy GMD and Potassium F going to come in for Australia. Aimasu will stay in for Australia. This is pretty much what you expect from your typical core lineup from Australia. Sometimes you'll throw in Beat Saber is good or Orkanos in there. Meanwhile, for Argentina, you will have Alu switching out to Hakitsu. Hakitsu is going to sit this one out. Let Argentina do their own thing on their protect pick. Alrighty, so good luck, have fun being said all in the lobby. Just waiting on the referee to be able to start. Maybe just double checking, making sure that everybody is ready. But this is SV1. What can I say about this map is that this is a pretty much a map where it does have a lot of jumps, pretty much a bit more apparent than SV2, which is a pretty different style of a SV map. Reading is going to be involved, as well as some memorization as well. You probably need to memorize the pacing of the song to be able to hit these notes perfectly. And right now, you can definitely see why Australia wanted to protect this map.
Argentina did place, I think it was 14th on SV in the qualifier as well. Australia were about 30th. So there is quite a difference in their SV ability.
Yep, we're seeing our first break. I'm also mistiming that jump right there. Yeah, those jumps are pretty tricky, but however, Argentina looking pretty strong, having a lead by almost 100,000 points.
This pattern here is quite difficult to understand on the first try. It's a little bit offbeat on a lot of the notes.
Yeah, you can pretty much just see the difference. Well, Fluffy will find the first break for himself. It's just Potassium F still holding on to that FC, but this was definitely a strategy game. Argentina looking to be able to start things off pretty early, starting off with their own protect, which is a pretty good idea. Maybe they probably did see how Germany have played and decided to go with the protect on their third on the fourth map. But so really interesting strategy for Argentina, as this protect pick will pay off, as it is now 1-1 even. But Australia is now up again to go back into picking their second map of this match. So Australia is now up. Potassium F is in the lobby, so we will be able to see which map is Potassium F going to choose. I could probably see, since Australia did pretty well with Rice 3, I could see them go with Rice 1 to continue with the jumps with the jump stream consistency. And yeah, you can also see like Australia definitely didn't have a lot of things going into their favor. Fluffy GMD practice SB1 just about 30 minutes before this match actually happened. And oh, they're gonna go with their protect straight away. I was thinking they could use their protect as like their trump card or their last pick, but they're gonna go with their protect. Rainbow Archiver, this is your mixed, another mixed rice map.
It's an interesting mix between a dump map and a tag map.
Yeah, definitely. There's some technical different drill patterns in there, along with some streams as well. It's pretty much a very versatile map of various rice patterns for what these players are gonna have to go through. Fluffy GMD will stay in, but Potassium F is going to switch out with Arcados. Meanwhile, BL5 is going to come in as Haikitsu is going to come back in, and Gian Spark is coming in as well. So a complete team roster coming from Argentina. So this is going to be interesting to see how well these players will do. And like I said, I did mention that Argentina would love to run with a very versatile lineup. A lot of their members are pretty strong in whichever skill sets that they have, but you know, it really depends on which maps they're playing that may alter their lineups a lot more than what you would expect from like a team that would have like, you know, with your typical Rice lineup, your typical LN or hybrid lineup. Argentina is just one of those teams that really loves to switch things up into the three players that the team itself would think would be good enough to be able to play any map in general.
It does seem like Argentina go per map rather than per skill set.
Yeah, pretty much. And some matchup moments right here. We just love Banjo. Alrighty, now everything is synced back up. Right now, it's just... This is really interesting, but the score is now in favor of Argentina right now.
Very close. It's flicking back and forth, actually. Argentina does seem to have a very male lead here, though.
Yeah, Argentina, I mean, you can just see the consistency from Australia. They've been hitting a lot more of the maxes now than Argentina now. So it's really cutting the lead just slightly down, but now you're seeing a lot of the 300s being hit by Arcados and Fluffy GMD. But everybody's holding FCs right now. Argentina definitely looking to steal a breakpoint from Australia. And oh, Arcados would break on the LN. That's going to really skyrocket the lead towards Argentina right now. Maybe it's just what Argentina needed to steal this breakpoint from Australia.
It really is a kind of one-on-one match here. Imesu and BL5 be very even there. Same with Gian Spark and Fluffy. Very close in accuracy, but Arcanos cannot keep up with Haikitsu.
Yeah, and Haikitsu with the 99.88 accuracy. That was also a very impressive score. And that's just going to be it. Haikitsu with the V1 double S. That was just pretty much the icing on the cake, scoring a 996k, which is really, really impressive.
And this was Australia's protect on top of that.
Yeah, that was really surprising. I was thinking that Australia might have this in the bag, but Argentina just looked really, really strong. Akitsu definitely going to be the player to watch out for, especially if Australia wants to gamble on the rice maps. I mean, yeah, Akitsu was the top scorer for race 3 as well. It's just that unfortunately the other two players at the time just couldn't keep up with Argentina, but this one they just definitely improved with a much different lineup, of course. And now with this in mind, Argentina is now up 2-1. But so the question is, what is Argentina going to choose next?
Argentina could really choose anything they want just now, but I do think they should continue rolling with the momentum on the race picks. Not really wanting to gamble away any of the hybrid or long no picks. Oh, but they're going for non-breath oblige, LN2.
LN2, your density map. Yep, so this is LN2 right now.
Again, this is the very long consistency test of the long no maps. It has very repetitive patterns during the Kiais.
Alrighty. So LN2, this is the density oriented map. If you see the first match with Brazil versus Germany, all 6 players had FC'd the maps, but really it's just going to come down to how well you can stay consistent with the density that's just been going on. The key eyes, however, or the chorus that's where the difficulty is going to spike up definitely. So this is something that Australia and Argentina should keep that in mind, and if they can be able to hit those key eyes not only as accurate as possible, but better than their opposing teams, that's really would be the key momentum as to why one of those two teams could win this match. So you have Orkanos, Aimasu, and Potassium F coming in for Australia. BO5, Alu, and Gonzalo going to come in for Argentina. So Hakitsu going to stay out again.
Potassium choosing to play with Hidden.
Yeah, playing with Flashlight, which is, I mean, obviously with Potassium being the Flashlight player, if I remembered correctly, he played most of the maps with Flashlight, most if not all of them that he was in, and we're going to see an early break from Potassium F. I'm a bit concerned with that because we haven't really hit the Ki yet, so I mean, this map is still pretty difficult, but I would be concerned how Potassium F will handle with the Kiais, especially when there's going to be a lot more density. And I would argue, like, especially with a very limited viewing perspective of the nodes. Yeah, this is the first Ki here.
A couple to drop 200s, but they do seem to be dealing with it pretty well.
Yep, and right now we're just seeing Argentina still looking pretty strong. You do have Aimasu with the highest accuracy with a 99.73, but the difference maker with it being in the second and third player battles between Gonzalo and Alu taking on Orkanos and Potassium F. Gonzalo and Alu definitely have a better team accuracy as the two compared to Orkanos and Potassium F. BL5 is trying to keep up with Aimasu, and I believe that just as long as BL5 can just FC the rest of the way through, and Alu and Gonzalo can just definitely outperforming Orkanos and Potassium F in terms of accuracy, I think that's just what Argentina needed, and Aimasu will find a break, however, just before the second Ki. And is it me or Is it me or did my audio cut out?
I think it was just Discord acting up there.
Oh yeah, probably.
There was also a second drop from potassium just at the start of the KI.
Yeah, and BO5 will find a break, however, but Argentina has built themselves a really huge lead over Australia.
Around about 15 to 20,000 points here. Quite a comfortable barrier for one or two more misses, but I wouldn't risk it.
Yeah, and you can just see Alu and Gonzalo definitely doing pretty good with their FC. Sarkano's being the only player for Australia with the FC, but it's just not going to be enough. Argentina is going to take this one from their own pick. And that's just it. Gonzalo and Alu definitely the difference maker here, as I think Alu with the high score in the lobby, just narrowly beating Aimasu by about almost 600, barely over 600 points. But regardless, Argentina has just been more consistent than Australia, and now all of a sudden it is now 3-1 in favor of Argentina. Something I wasn't really expecting Australia to be in, honestly.
Australia going straight for Crafted and Ace, the tech pick.
Oh,
Very
Rice.
rolly, and a lot of annoying mini jacks are in this map.
Oh, Rice 5. This is really interesting. Now, Rice 5, I like to think of this one as like a Rice hybrid, a hybrid map in disguise, because you do have some LN release and some the LNs are going to make a decent presence on their own. Obviously there is some roles and streams being played in there, and there's also some mini jacks in Rice 5 as well, but the LNs are a hidden factor as to determining who will win this map or not, and to the point where I do think it really is just a Rice hybrid in disguise. But that's just my opinion. I could be 100% wrong, of course.
Australia will really want to win this to try and keep that tiebreak away from Argentina. If Argentina get this point, they will guarantee either tiebreaker or a win, which wouldn't be very good for Australia, especially with it being 4-1 if Argentina win this.
Yep. So a must-win situation for Australia on Rice 5. Argentina looking to take their second break point to make it 4-1, and if that does happen, and okay, so did something happen to Beat Saber? Because Beat Saber having not a really good start, and oh man, I'm just really concerned for Beat Saber right now.
Seems they may have had their hands off the keyboard, not realizing it starts very quickly.
Maybe just mistimed on those, on that beginning. I mean, I don't know what happened, and I really genuinely think something must be wrong with Beat Saber, because this really starts off slow. It should be pretty easy to start off to really get the rhythm and the pacing of this map, and yeah, this it's just only going to continue as we're going to get into the rolls right here. Everybody's doing really good except for Fluffy GMD, who will find a break. This is going to give Argentina such a huge lead heading into the first KI right here.
Seems that Beat Saber was actually tabbed out at the start of the map.
Oh, that does happen. Really unfortunate for Australia to have not a really great start, but however, Gian Spark will find a break for Argentina. So this is going to cut the deficit of the lead down slightly in favor of closer to Australia, but Argentina with still a huge lead right now. That I do believe if there's a huge chain break coming from Argentina, Australia will get themselves back into the conversation of taking their own point. John Spark will find another break. Yeah, the mini jacks are going to really catch you off guard, but you also have the LMs that these players are going to have to hit. This is what I mean when I said that this is a hybrid map in disguise. John Spark's just struggling to keep up with the consistency and the pacing of the map.
This run really did ramp up in difficulty compared to the last one.
Oh my goodness. Just when we were seeing Gian Spark heading back into the 400 combo mark, he's just randomly breaking more. The lead is almost closing in for Australia. Could they complete the comeback? There's not much time left, however, so I would think that Argentina would just barely hold on to win it.
There's still about 8,000 point lead here. It is enough for Argentina to barely scrape past.
And yeah, that's just going to be it. Argentina being able to win this one by the score to make it 4-1, despite the 5 breaks coming from Gian Spark. Australia definitely had the opportunity to come back, but it just wasn't enough. As I did not know that Fluffy GMD also broke during like the map. Oh yeah, he broke during like the build up to the first KI. Yeah, that's what I remembered. Yeah, really unlucky for Australia. Definitely, if that alt tab didn't happen, Australia would be looking themselves to make it 2-3 and from their own pick. But yeah, it's just really sucks to see Australia now being down by 3 now, and now match point is going to go into the hands of Argentina right now.
Argentina are in quite a safe spot here with 3 points to spare before even getting to tiebreaker. So they don't really have to worry too much about what they pick, just as long as they get a win.
Alrighty, so it's going to be Rice 1. Okay, I feel like Rice 1 would be a toss-up, especially since Australia's pick point was on Rice 3, which has a lot of jump stream patterns. This one is really just going to test on consistency. So this is Rice 1, Crimson Mist. Pretty short for what you expect as a Rice 1 jump stream map, but regardless, I mean, the difficulty is there and it's pretty consistent throughout the map. There's just going to be some funky patterns and some jacks in the second half, but other than that, it's pretty straightforward. 2 minutes 13 seconds long, BPM of 212.1. OD of 8.5.
Surprisingly, you don't really feel such a high OD when playing this, although compared to other consistency maps, that's actually quite low. Other consistency maps usually sit on OD 9, even higher sometimes.
Yep, Australia is into the verge of being the first team to get eliminated for the Mania World Cup 2023. So a lot is on the line for Australia as they're trying to keep their 4DMWC hopes alive in hopes of being able to at least force tiebreaker and perhaps leave the day with a win to get into the losers quarterfinals. Argentina 1 point away from just advancing into the losers quarterfinals and ending Australia's run in hopes of becoming 4DM WC champions. And another Bancho moment right there. And nope, this is not a Bancho thing. I mean, it did restart almost immediately and that break happened, but man, that's not looking good for Australia right now. Argentina already off to a big start. Starting things where they left off pretty much with Rice 5, but really consistency is going to be the key here, and especially since Jan Spark is still here, definitely eyes will be on him. But however, Hakitsu is also here as well as Quiz Uwu. So definitely going to be interesting to see how Argentina will fare in this Rice 1 map.
Yeah, Argentina seem to have sent out their strongest race players from what we've seen so far. Australia seemed to have tried to retaliate with doing the same. However, an early miss from Potassium did give an early lead to Argentina, and they do not seem like they want to give it back anytime soon.
Yeah, and we're just seeing so far Argentina looking pretty strong. Potassium F, even with that initial break, is still pretty consistent. As he is now starting to get into the flow of the map, as well as Aimasu Beat Saber is good, but however, you can just see the accuracy difference between Argentina and Australia. Hakitsu with that 99.81%, and Gian Spark with a 99.73% as well, or hovering around 70.72, 0.73% right here. And oh man, that's just not looking good for Australia, as now with another break, definitely the writing's on the wall as we are near the end of the map and the final KI. Yeah, it's a really consistent map. It's just really just tests on stamina, and man, that's just going to be it. It was a nice run for Australia, but unfortunately their 4DMWC runs is going to be cut short as your winners of this match. And moving on into the losers quarterfinals, it is going to be the team of SPKTR, Alu, BL5, Gonzalo, Hakitsu, and Quiz Uwu, or SPKTR, also known as Gian Spark, I probably just found out Gian Spark did change his name. On Team Argentina, that will be moving on to the losers quarterfinals.
Sad to see Australia go, but however, someone had to take the fall, and unluckily, it was Australia.
It was a very, very impressive performance coming from Argentina, as they, I mean, you know, I've talked about with, like, you know, I mean, I was asking you before the match had even started, what do you think about the match? Argentina definitely did show up with both their players, especially Hakitsu, who's just been the MVP of this match for Argentina, as Argentina did definitely step up after their loss against Peru. And now with this in mind, they will be moving on into the losers quarterfinals. We're waiting for them for the losers quarterfinals. I'm trying to look for the match number. Is either going to beat the team of Canada or France, depending on who will win the winners round of 16. So, yes, aside from that, to Australia, I know you guys are feeling really disappointed in yourselves, but just know that you guys definitely performed your hearts out, and you guys did make this match pretty interesting, if I'll be honest myself. So, definitely, definitely the potential is right there, and I'm really excited to see what can Australia do next year for 4DM WC 2024. But with that, that is going to be it for this match. Hyper, do you have any final words you want to say?
That was an incredibly interesting match. Not as close as I was expecting it to be, but we can't always rely on numbers to see how a match will turn out.
Yep. With this in mind, that's just going to be it. Pretty much, if you're in America, that's pretty much it for most of the matches for the rest of the day before Saturday will actually hit for us. But aside from that, for those of you who just woken up, the next match isn't going to happen until 9 hours from now. And with that 9 hours, it's going to be 4 matches in a span of 4 hours when 11:30 UTC will hit. And it will start things off with Ireland versus Vietnam. And then it will just continue on until the last match between, I believe, Turkey versus Sweden. But other than that, that's just going to be it. I'd like to thank Konkawi for streaming this match. Thank you to Yubi for refing this match. As I am Porcus Great, and we will see you guys in 9 hours from now. Take care, everyone.
Thanks for watching.